This week's episode is sponsored by the 2025 Buffalo Stampede Festival by Single Track Events. Find your epic and run with nature. Sign up at www.buffalostampede.au.
Your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place?
Welcome to episode number 383 of the Inside Running Podcast. A massive thanks for being with us for another week. We've got a big show coming at you this week, but no Australian records. First time I've said that in about 5 weeks. We do have some results to talk about over at the BU Last Chance meet. Perth Track Classic happened. Tokyo Marathon happened. Some whispers here. Moose on the Loose, Listener Question. All the usual segments you come to love and hopefully expect. Well, hopefully love and expect at the Inside Running Podcast. Welcome to my co-host. He's the biggest man in the shoe dog industry and a 214 marathoner. Owns a running company, Geelong and Torquay. Julian Spence, how are you this week?
Recovering, mate. I had a good week of running though, so I'm up and about for that.
Did I even see a little workout? Was that today or was that last week? Some
workout.
surges maybe?
Yeah, workout would be pushing it. But it felt good to, it was 20-second surges and only 4 of them. But it felt good to stretch the legs out a little bit.
Get on the toes, start getting a few different endorphins when you come back in the door from that one.
Yeah, well, I've considered changing shoes for 4 by 20 seconds. What do you reckon? Too much?
Well, considering the shit you've been putting on Strava like the last couple of weeks trying to sell as many shoes as possible, I reckon you probably should start doing some faster stuff in some of those shoes.
Didn't you wear a super shoe for a jog, Moose?
Yeah.
I did. I needed to test it. It was so. Here's the thing, because Croaks, you're like when you write unsubscribe on someone's comments.
Welcome to you, by the way, Croaks. We're going in hot here.
It's just showing your age because there's an unfollow button. And it's really fucking obvious, the unfollow button. And I know sometimes you old that you have trouble finding stuff on the
podcast.
Yeah, get the beep out, Brady.
But there is a genuinely easy to find unfollow button. So it's quite simple for you to do that. But
if I click unfollow, Moose, I don't get all the likes. I don't get the 70 likes.
Little dumb ego kick for you. But the thing is, you guys don't realise how many shoes I get. So when I put a shoe up and I say I really like this shoe, I genuinely like that shoe. I might get 10 shoes for the month and only one makes it to Strava. The 9 others don't get endorsements. So
how's the flex, Brady? You boys do not realise how many shoes I get given.
Well, I mean, I buy them. I bought the Vomero. I paid my own money for that shoe. But I might get 9. And maybe I get 3 some months. Maybe I get 12 some months. I don't endorse stuff I don't believe in or feel like I don't say I like a shoe when I don't. So you're calling my character into question there. That's what you're doing. And that's an offensive thing when you've got a character as strong as mine, Brad.
Come on, mate. Playing the victim, it doesn't suit you.
I did like you gave people time in your responses. There was a lot of back and forth from you. Sometimes people are just like it's a one-way street, you know. Here's a shoe. I ain't got time to be writing back to you unless you want to buy it. So, I enjoyed that from you.
Quiet day on the floor, was it, Moose?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not trying to sell shoes on there. If I did, I'll have links to my bloody website and I would say it's the best thing ever and you'll love it. But I love it. And it made me think a lot lately about shoes and where each person is at in their running. And just coming back from a time off, I'm carrying 5 kilos extra than I normally do. My shoe requirement is very different. I'm running 5-minute Ks versus when I used to jog at 4:15s or whatever. And my shoes are so different. And I'm just appreciating that a little more now that I'm in a different position. And this shoe here would probably not have been a shoe that I would have worn a lot 5 years ago, but now it suits me.
We'll get to it when we recap your week, but how are you, Croaks, up in Canberra? The Raiders had a good win over in Las Vegas over the weekend, up and about.
Yeah, they did. They're on top of the table.
Good to know.
But there's only been 2 matches because the rest are round ones this weekend.
You going all right, though?
Yeah, not too bad. Yep, body's hanging in there, testing its limits.
Just to open your Strava, you got a very nice staircase getting built. Not even a staircase. It's like a slope, an upward slope of kilometres per week.
I'm not sure how much more of an upward slope though I'm going to be able to do. Just sort of ripped the Band-Aid off a little bit last week, changing a few things. But I'm enjoying getting out the door for a run. I'm finding it hard to get motivated to build for anything, knowing that I'm still just not quite confident that my body can handle the training that I want to do.
Okay.
You get to your week, but you did 2 hours at 4:16s.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
You're going all right. Good. Jesus. I'm getting excited about a 6K fucking jog.
Yeah. 4:20 surges.
Yeah. It's all relative. I suppose, look, I'm running 100K a week, which, probably at 80, 70% of our listeners probably don't even run that. So it's good, but you know what it's like. If I want to run the best of my ability, I'm not going to do that off 100K weeks.
You got to kick all that stuff out, Croaks. This 2025, the year you reset the goalposts.
Yeah, and as I said, I'm enjoying getting out, but it's like if I'm never going to run a good marathon off 100K a week. Yeah, let's be honest.
But a good marathon for you is still 2:17, 2:19, 2:20.
I wouldn't run. I'd struggle to break 2:30 up.
That's what I mean. I reckon
100K a week.
Don't even.
You go make your goalpost 2:24. What's that Australian record?
I don't know, 2:25, 4, 5, something like that.
You know exactly what it is, mate.
I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is. Go make your goalpost. I'm going to run 2:24:30.
Whatever Brad Cullerfelt runs at Ballarat, that's what it'll be.
Yeah, he's up and about there. He'll run.
Croaks, you cannot tell me you couldn't break 2:30 off 100K a week. That is.
I ran 2:28 in Melbourne off way more than 100K a week.
We had a bad day in Melbourne, mate. It wasn't our day in Melbourne.
There's not much of a buffer there.
You know what I'm saying, though? You need, if you want to set goals and be up and about and motivated, I think you need to, configure what you want to get out of running for this year.
Yeah. I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm being super patient. I'm not forced in any sessions. Tested the Achilles a little bit on Sunday by going a little bit longer and throwing a few more hills in. And, it's pulled up a little bit sore today, but not terrible. I'm still able to get out for a run, and I haven't taken any anti-inflam since last Tuesday, which is, a good sign.
Yeah, well, a lot of people wrote in about those anti-inflams you were taking are bad for your heart.
Yeah, I actually had
a few people.
It's funny, I had a scheduled meeting with Andre on Friday, and I asked him about that, and he said, no, it's completely fine. He said if you had more of a heart disease, artery type sort of stuff, then maybe, but no, he was totally fine with me taking those anti-inflams. Yeah.
Good that the boss approved that. Let's go through this week of training, kick it off for us.
Okay, so Monday, got out after work for just over 10K, 4:24s. Don't really remember too much about the run. And then Tuesday morning, jumped on the treadmill, did 8 by a K off a minute recovery. Finding the treadmill sessions, they're not super difficult, but in terms of heat stress or perceived effort, it sort of seems a little bit higher because it does get quite just hot and humid in the garage. So I did the first 4 reps at 17K an hour, which is 330s, 331s. And then the last 4 reps at 17.5K an hour, which is mid 320s. Heart rate all sat between sort of 160. And then as the session like the longer the session goes, like your heart rate does slowly creep up, but perceived effort's pretty much the same. It's just you become a bit more dehydrated. So probably first rep maxed out at 160, last rep 165 or something like that. So that was Tuesday morning. Went and met the group that afternoon, did their warm-up as a double down at the lake. So did 30 minutes at 4:16s. By the end of this run, it was definitely a little bit niggly, my Achilles. So I was a bit concerned then for Wednesday. Got out for an hour, 4:22s that Wednesday evening. And it was, probably niggly from, 40 minutes onwards, but it doesn't get to the point where I need to like start hobbling. It's a 2-3 out of 10. So it's quite manageable, the pain. I've been taking Thursdays off, so I continued to take Thursday off. Then another treadmill session on Friday, did 3x2K. So I had been doing 6-minute reps every Friday, and I just wanted to sort of mix it up a little bit, just playing around with sort of distances just to, sort of makes the session go a bit quicker, or you're a bit more sort of engaged when you slowly sort of like changing the stimulus. So I did 3x2K initially, but it was really humid morning, and I just noticed that, and so this was at 16.5K an hour, so like just under high 330s. So it was, just over 7 minutes for the reps, but I was noticing like in that extra minute or minute 15, by doing 2K reps instead of 6-minute reps, like the heart rate was definitely like creeping up a bit more. So I did 3x2K off about a minute, and then did 2x6 minutes. Heart rate was pretty much the same as the Tuesday in that sort of low to mid 160s. Didn't double on the Friday, and then Saturday morning got out because it was going to be fairly hot. So I didn't want to run after Lil A, so I basically ran from home, did a lap of Mulligans, and then ran to where Lily does Little Athletics. So that was an hour, 4:20s. I actually felt really good on this run. It was the first run I've gone out, and it's actually been like sort of cold. It was like probably 10 degrees, and I was like, whoa, this feels like amazing. So really enjoyed that run. Achilles was actually like, I didn't even notice it in the whole hour, which was good coming off a session day. And then Sunday, I wanted to definitely try and go a little bit longer this week. I think I've been doing like an hour 45, and I wanted to go out into like Guru Yaru, which is the bit sort of when you go through Mulligans out the other side, which is a little bit hillier, and I haven't run through there since December. So I actually felt pretty good, like considering it's probably my longest run since Melbourne actually. So I did 28K, 4:16s, heart rate was in the 140s average. Got hot towards the end, but I certainly wasn't spent at the end of it. So it was a week of 106, which is sort of similar to the week before. I'm going to try and do a session outside tomorrow with the group, and probably just keep mileage similar, hopefully.
You have the Coros arm strap on for that long run?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was getting up there towards the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I find once it gets hot and you're a bit dehydrated. Our
boy's pushing 168, 170, Moose. Back end of the long run.
Fresh old material.
Yeah. Might get fit. Sends over not running any miles.
First 2 hours, he's got the Raiders coming up, so he would have been getting excited about that. Bit of a few hills, bit of heat.
Yeah, so it was a pretty good week because there's a few extra stimulus. Obviously, the long run was longer. I think I had an extra 60-minute run. I think I'd been doing a lot more sort of 45-minute runs where I had at least 2 runs there that were over, 3 runs in the week that were over an hour. So that was good. So it's all tracking well, but it's just, I'll schedule a hill session for the group in a couple of weeks. Like there's no way I can go and do a hill session. So I just need to just work within my limitations at the moment. But I'm going to get fairly fit off 100K a week.
So
you go, Moose.
Well, Croaks, you're going to keep going along. You're going to increase your load, whether it's workouts or long runs or hills or mileage, whatever. Where's the strength progression here? Because this is how you get better, right?
What's that?
The strength, like getting stronger, like loading that tendon.
Yeah.
There's pretty good research to suggest that you'll get over tendon injuries with a strengthening program.
Yeah.
So where's the direction there? Where's the guidance?
So I've just been doing, I do calf raises pretty much every day. Whether there's enough weight, I don't know. Probably not, because I don't have a gym membership, so I'm not going to the gym at the moment. But yeah, just doing basically a heap of calf raises. That's pretty much my strength stuff. My left calf, I noticed it. My left calf is definitely more like defined than my right, but probably a little bit smaller. So
it might even just be worth getting a physio appointment. Doesn't mean you have to go through a series of 10 of them, but even just getting in a physio and just have them look over the specifics of your calf work. Even get one of those dynameter strengthening testers on your calves, just to see if there's any big deficiencies or anything like that. Yeah. Sometimes it can just be about the placement of your foot and ankle, how your feet are positioned, and to do the calves, where you're actually hitting the actual calf muscles. It might only be one or two appointments, but it'd be worth it, considering you going to Valencia. Don't leave any stone unturned to get healthy.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. I should probably go to a physio.
See, who's your mate? You got a couple of mates, right?
But I go and see Rob Hunt for physio work. He used to work for Collingwood back in the day, actually, Brady.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was a Collingwood physio. Yeah, so so he's who I normally go and see.
Just looking him up now. Yeah, that's good. Progress. What have you been doing, Moose? How's the operation?
That was I really underplayed that one. In my own head, I kind of forgot it was even going on. I reckon last time I was like, I got a surgery on Thursday, and then just worked, and then Wednesday night I'm like, I go into surgery tomorrow. So it was full anaesthetic. So I went under, and it all went really well. They said it was fully grown over. The surgeon said it was 100% bone growth, full canal grown over. So they strip the skin back off the bone, and then they whack it with a chisel, and it's like a big protrusion, like in a cave. You know what they call them? Stalagmites and something or other. What are those two? You probably know that as teachers. You'd be teaching that stuff.
Nah, definitely not.
Stalactites and stalagmites, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But it's one of them comes down, the other one comes up, and it's basically done that within the ear canal. And so they just tap it, and then essentially it breaks off at the bottom, at the base, and it opens the ear canal up. So they did that. I came out of the anaesthetic really relaxed. Last time when I had my knee done, I came out very agitated. I didn't have a good experience at all. And this time I came out the opposite. I was relaxed and cruising. So then maybe they put something extra in my my needle. They pack it full of these little iodine pellets. I think it's to keep it sterile and the wound to keep that healthy rather than getting infected. But I'm basically, my whole ear, maybe you can see a little, but it's fully packed full of these pellets, and I can't hear anything in it. When I put my head down on the pillow, I can't hear anything in here. I just took my earbuds out and it didn't make any difference. So that's really frustrating, because when you're trying to listen to somebody and you also have background noise, you just can't hear anything. So I'm trying to work with music in the background and kids talking and the people next to me, and it absolutely drains me. I can't imagine how someone who lives with a disability can actually function properly, just because of how much more effort it is to function with limited capacity. So I'm it's a good eye opener for that. It'll be lunchtime and I'm cooked just based on how much I'm focusing on the task at hand and how much more energy it requires. Mental energy.
Yeah, when will you be able to hear?
They're going to take it out on Friday,
Okay.
and so it should be fine after that. But I think I'm going to get Bree to start taking them out because it's actually making me very anxious, not being able to hear properly, and throws everything out. Like if I'm going for a walk or something, I can't even hear a car coming up behind me, and it just puts me on edge all the time. So I'm going to ask her to maybe just take a few out and try to get a little bit of hearing in. It's also a bit of pain left in there, so I'm still on Panadol. But I'm on a running program. So Ali's written me a program. She's going to take me back to proper mileage. She's written me week by week at the moment. So this was the first week I followed a plan, or the second week. Pretty simple stuff. Monday I didn't run. Tuesday I got out for just a jog. I think on Tuesday I ran with the new Vomero. So that was just 30 minutes around down the bottom of the hill. I've still got instructions just to stay flat because of my back. Wednesday I had off. Thursday I ran before I went into the hospital. That was the day that the shoe dropped. I ran this a bit faster for some reason. That looks fast, doesn't it? 4:33s. What was I thinking? She told me. So she's broken the runs up into easy pace and recovery. And this was an easy day. And I thought, I better make it a bit faster. My heart rate was higher because of that. Like, I went up a hill, it bloody skyrocketed.
Who's the photo of in the Vomeros? Because they're not wearing Nike socks, so it's not a Nike model.
Nah, that's Jazz. That's one of our staff.
Ah.
She's got some good calf muscles, doesn't she? Have a look at those calves.
So you did a legit photo shoot with a staff member for the shoe release?
Well, the running company did with North South. So Fletch from North South has been doing all our content for the running company.
Good fella, too. Isn't that Nike's job, though? Wouldn't they just give you assets to use?
They do, but we want to do our own.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, Jazz gives her own impressions on the shoe during the review, but they also take a few stills as well. It's good because it's a little bit more independent.
I can cut this out, but is it like the cost covered by Nike, or you guys cover the cost?
Well, that's shoe by shoe. So with some of the releases, the brands will cover that cost, and with some that we feel are important, we will cover the cost, and the brand won't. I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, that's pretty good though, isn't it? Like, you can put your own 2 bobs worth in, own opinions.
Yeah, and you can get
Unmuzzled.
good content from it.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's not just the same old stuff that, like, those assets, they go around the world.
Yeah.
So globally, everyone gets the same assets. It's a little boring. And we have the best people in our stores. Like Jazz, she won the world championships in her age group for the half Ironman a couple of months ago. Like, she's a professional now. She's going to compete in the professional division at Geelong, and she just works on our shop floor. So anyone that comes in can just talk to a professional triathlete. And so we underutilize the staff greatly, I think.
I did see the video. Was she running through like a street in Melbourne?
Yeah,
like an alleyway or something? Yeah, it did pop up on my algorithm. Yeah, okay.
So that one's in Melbourne. There was a few that have been done down the coast, down here.
Yeah,
down on
Sam
some
Toll.
dirt roads. Sam Toll's been doing them. Yeah, so he works in the Clifton Hill store. But that's the kind of, like, they're the kind of staff that you're getting. Like, Sam's a physio. He's been around the running world for ages. He's worked in the shoe store for a long time. It's a high level of knowledge on the shop floor, and we probably should try to use it in our socials a lot more.
Yeah, because if you don't, you're up against every man and their dog on the YouTube giving their opinion on shoes. Like, you guys are cooked. And that's what I remember I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, like, social media, if the pros aren't going to do their own content and do it well, you're just going to have these influencers coming in to take the attention. Like, it's probably worse in the shoe game. Like, if you guys aren't making content on reviewing shoes and stuff, well, these guys will, and they probably don't know what they're talking about, but they'll get a shitload of views.
I know, and who are we to say? Like, we have to deal with that as it comes in. Like, you'll have a customer come in and tell you, watch this last review from someone, and it's hard for us to say, oh, that's garbage, because we don't say that, but there's a lot of misinformation out there on them. And and a lot of the time that reviewer will be held in this super high esteem, and all we're doing is going and getting a shoe out the back for that person to try on because they got told to. So our opinion counts for nothing, and the reviewer is like God. It can be frustrating for sure.
Could you hand out a flyer when people walk in? It's like, this is who you're served by. Toby the Bad Boy Mende, .1 star of the monthly 219 marathoner. Like, you know what I mean? Just hand out resumes as they're coming through. Like, you're not just getting served, because the alternative is some shoe stores you would walk into and you're getting served by a 16-year-old kid who knows fuck all about shoes.
Yeah, and that's what the norm though.
Yeah,
like that, and that's what people are used to.
So I can see why people would think that, especially because Toby does look like he's 16 as well.
Toby rolls a beard.
Yeah, it's only to make himself look older.
Yeah, maybe we should get Toby's hit list up on his best of Toby races.
I'm serious. Even like if you got a digital screen or something in there and just roll through like about our staff.
It's that would be hard.
Why?
No one would like that. None of the staff would be into that.
I don't care if they like it or not. I'm the boss. I'm telling you what I'm doing. That's what you got to go in there and tell them.
Good point. I actually am going to get photos of them up on the wall just as a talking point, just like some of their favourite races they've done.
Yeah, favourite races. Yeah, because then that's a bit of credibility, isn't it? You're getting served by a guy, and while you're waiting to get served, you've ran the Berlin Marathon, and you're actually going to do the Berlin Marathon.
100%. Yeah,
hey,
that's
we got
right.
ideas flowing here, Moose, me and you.
You're good.
Although, Moose, don't you have a photo of yourself when you ran world champs, and people often come in and don't even know that you're a runner? Just work at the stop?
I've got to actually put that down a little bit more in eyesight.
Yeah.
That one's too high up and you can't even tell. So that's going to come back down right in front of where they're all waiting.
Put it on the front door as they walk in.
Oh yeah, front door, good. Yeah.
Pull down the one of Ali Paschal. You don't need that there. Just get one of yourself up there.
Yeah. Ali and Brady, they're the big stars in the store at the moment.
Or just have it printed all over the floor, Moose, so when people are going down to lace up their shoes, all they see is you.
As well as me in front of them. They just see me when I was fit.
I like my ideas better than this, Croaks, to be honest.
Yeah. So yours is pretty good, actually. I like that too.
Yeah. You know the screens I'm talking about? You know when you go into Macca's and you got the screen you do your order on? Something like that, just in the middle of the shop, just floating through different images of your staff. Credibility. Maybe you could pick your staff. It's like an order. Who do you want to serve you? Because some people would feel more comfortable with different genders, different age group, demographics.
Bit of a worry if you've only got one or two people in there. Toby's out on a 3-hour ride and they click Toby.
He's spending a lot of time out the back though, I reckon. No one's clicking him.
Yeah, Toby. The customers don't get a choice. It's Toby or nothing in Torquay.
Yeah. We love Toby on the show. Anyway, what'd you do the next day?
Well, then I got back to running slower again. So I ran 30 minutes, 6.5K. I felt real good. Like I had a day off by now, and I'm out running thinking my knee doesn't hurt, my ankle doesn't hurt, my back doesn't hurt, hips good, no hammy. It's slow running, but it's just such fun when you're healthy and everything's moving smoothly. I just don't care about the pace or anything. I just feel good running. And it's so much better to start a block like that. I've started blocks recently where I've got a little niggle going in, and it's hard to sort of feel like it's the right time to increase when you've got a niggle. So now I actually feel really healthy and smooth when I'm running, and I'm going to build off that. So that was Saturday, and then Sunday I ran 8 and a bit K just around Anglesey, ran into Sam Hume on the way back from the cliff, so had a run with Sam. One of Sam's daughters runs for Jeff Risley at the school that he works at. She's a gun. She won the 3K state chance on the weekend, or the 15th. The 3K state chance.
Is it Isabel?
Yeah.
Isabel, yeah.
She's a real good one, and the parents are super talented as well, triathletes.
Yeah, well, swimmers. Yeah, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, like Nantali, the mum. She she's won so many Pieta pubs and was a gun swimmer, and Sam was a whole triathlete, Ironman triathlete, but also a good swimmer and runs with us on our Sunday runs. But yeah, she's good. She's going to be a good runner, but she's also good at everything. So it's tough to pick one thing at the moment, and shouldn't be picking one thing. Like we know Jeffa, he's like all in on the running, but you got a 15-year-old girl who's good at swimming and good at surf lifesaving, good at running. You really don't want to pull them out of everything and just stick them in one sport, do you?
Nah, he'd
like
know
we
that
know
too.
it's not good for you. We know it's not good for you.
He'd know that because that's probably what he did. Special Freak Junior.
But he got good
making
though.
teams.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I guess he went to 4 Olympics, didn't he?
But that's where wasn't Claudia was also obviously talented running, but then she was playing footy as well. So then she didn't probably specialise till maybe 17, 16, 17.
A bit older, I reckon.
Yeah.
And a couple of years, Jeff, you reckon?
Well, they've got good data now to sort of show that that specialisation young does almost is a detriment to success later on.
Yeah.
So we don't want that. We want them just to have fun, chill out, try a few things, and then they'll get good when they're ready.
Good work. I love that you got a program from Ali.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen on it. So I've got the training program, the running, but then I also have a gym and mobility program too. So it's the full show, the show bag full of stuff from Ali.
Did Ellie say whether Brady had reached out to her for coaching?
Well, she didn't say that, but I'm interested to hear.
I can't wait to hear who this new coach is.
I did say last week that I would get on air this week and tell you though I have got a coach, but I haven't yet, boys. But I have made inquiries. It's a busy guy like me. It's been a bit of a slow process. I'm waiting on a response actually, so I don't want to go early on it, but I'm hoping to have something locked in.
I've been on the Run Strong emails and nothing's come through for Ali.
Ali Pashley would be a good coach. You know, I don't like mixing things up though. Like I think I'd love to have you as a coach again, Moose, or Croaks even, but I like having things in separate lanes. Someone I don't have Ali does shows with us and stuff like that. Someone you don't have a existing, actually, that might backfire on me next week if I tell you who I've reached out to. But yeah, do you want me to go through this week, boys? Because I did do a few different workouts that you wouldn't have seen before.
Yeah, so, I thought your new coach had prescribed a local fun run just to get the confidence up.
Oh, geez, the confidence high after that win yesterday. I'll tell you about that. It's good to be winning races again, boys. But anyway, I'll start Monday. 60 minutes in the morning, 4:43s, 40 minutes on the treadmill, that Arvo. Court of Gold Moose. Watch that on Netflix. It's a doco about the basketball at the Olympics last year.
Oh, yeah?
It follows the US, Serbia, Canada, and France. Disappointed it didn't follow the Boomers because didn't we win a medal the year before or the Olympics before in Tokyo?
Oh, we were supposed to get a medal for sure.
Yeah.
We
Paddy, they did show. Yes, when they were showing Serbia, they did show the game where Paddy Mills hit that shot to take it to overtime against Serbia, but they end up knocking us out. But really, really good watch if you're looking for something on the treadmill. Lighthearted, but I love sports docos. They're the best things to watch. So that was my Monday. Tuesday, I've gone to Wednesday, Sunday, being 9 weeks out at this stage, out from a marathon. So I did 90 minutes pretty easy and some strides after that. That was 4:27 average. And I did 30 minutes in the afternoon on the treadmill. And this was the day, boys, that I was putting Olivia to bed. I've been having a few issues putting our 3-year-old to bed. Hasn't been the easiest thing in the world lately. And my phone started ringing. And usually I wouldn't pick up the call, but it was a call through to the monthly group chat that Christian was calling the boys. Very rare that Christian calls us for a FaceTime call. And I thought he maybe just pocket dialed me, so I didn't answer. And then I did notice that Toby had picked up. So I was like, oh, here we go. So I just put Olivia down next to me and said, we'll talk to Uncle Christian from Norway and Uncle Toby for a few quick minutes here just to see what they want, what's going on here. And Christian had come up with the idea that we should all do the same training program leading into Ballarat Marathon and London Marathon, which is the same day. So he shared with us his program. He's got this big document of every run he's ever been into, this Google Docs kind of thing. So we're having a bit of a laugh about that. Olivia fell asleep in like 45 seconds. Like, she was clearly bored. It was the easiest I've been able to put her to bed in like 3 weeks, I reckon. So I have to call Chriso every time it's my job to put her to bed. So I said, yeah, cool, what's your workout this week? I'll go and do it tomorrow morning. So I woke up Wednesday morning and I was like so relaxed that I didn't have to think about what workout to do. I pretty much just ripped this straight off Jordan Donnelly, which is a bad thing to do. I am not encouraging people to do this. Don't go stealing other people's programs. It's not written for you. It's written for somebody else. But in this instance, I'm like, I'll give this a whirl. I've never done this workout before. So it was 2 by 1K and then 4 by 2K and then 2 by 1K. All with 2 minutes walk between, which I thought was really generous. The Ks were meant to be like faster than the 2Ks were meant to be like progression. So the first K was 3:05 and then 3:02. And then I went 3:18, 3:16, 3:13 and 3:10 for the 4 by 2Ks. And then I finished off with 2 1Ks in 2:57. Went a bit quicker than the prescribed pace Croaks, but it was prescribed for Chriso, so I thought I could just go a few seconds quicker here and there. And it was a good workout, considering I thought it was maybe a bit generous recovery wise going into it. It was exactly where it should have been, and thoroughly enjoyed doing that workout. Good to, I don't have that much speed though. I think my days of doing 8 by 1K in sub 3 minutes are gone. I have to work pretty hard to run 2:57s. 3 minutes flat at the moment, which is okay because I'm getting old. Did a Strava experiment with the weather. So Google, this is just before I started my workout, Google weather said 21 degrees feels like 24. Strava said 19 feels like 17. 7K difference, boys. 7 degrees difference. That's bullshit. Strava's got to sort their stuff out. I'll tell you about what Nick Earl reckons when I get to my whispers part. 30 minutes on the treadmill that Arvo. Thursday, 64 minutes. Roman Nath Pierce was in town. We averaged 4:21s. I had to have a word to him because the 5th K he ran a 4:14. And I just had to explain that's not how we do our easy running in a Chukumo and Nathan. We have to kind of relax a bit. So then we drop back to like 4:30s after that. Good to have some company with Nath though. 35 minutes on the treadmill that Arvo. Friday, met up with Connor Dillon, who was in town, boys. You heard of Connor before? Look him up on Strava if you want to see some mileage. 220 Ks like every week. The man is a machine. Doing Ballarat Marathon as well. You may have been familiar with Connor's work because he's not afraid to call out a running influencer in the comments. And he, off his real account, he doesn't have a burner account.
What influencer?
He was big on going that, was it Louis Phillips?
Oh, yeah.
Can you remember? Yeah, he was going, him in the comments. Well, I remember people sending screenshots in and stuff. He was fighting the good fight in there. So he was in a Chukumalama for work. So we met up, went for a jog. He's knows the ins and outs of the Melbourne running scene. So we had a few good whispers about a few different personalities down there. What did we do? Yeah, about 20K, I think it was, at about 4:33 average in total. I did about 18Ks, then did strides when I got home. Then 35 minutes on the treadmill after work. Saturday morning, did 16K at 4:34. Noticed my heart rate was a bit lower this week, average 124 for 16K, and it was pretty warm. So I don't know what's maybe fitness or don't know what's happening there.
Battery of the monitor?
Nah, because you charge it up. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just a USB charger. This one doesn't. Don't the chest ones go all dodgy with the batteries and stuff?
Yeah, the chest ones do. Yeah, this one's, I'm only kidding. It's probably just a bit of fitness for you. Maybe a bit of heat adaptation. Because
if this Coros one's at 5% battery, it's still going to give you an accurate reading of 95% battery, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
Oh, okay, you could be onto something there.
Well, no, I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
I thought if it had a battery, it had a battery. It was definitely working anyway, I thought. Then I drove to Bendigo, took both the kids down there, stayed at my parents' house, jumped in the Bendigo Fun Run Half Marathon, which was on Sunday morning. The original plan here, boys, was to do 3 by 6K and then a 1K float in between. That would give me 21 Ks. I was going to start at 320s and the middle 6K at I was going to start at 325s, middle 6K at 320s, last 6K at 315s. Plan very quickly went out the window. Stitched crammers up, Ryan Cramry, Geelong boy, Moose. I told him I was going to run 3:25s for the first 6K, and I ran 3:12s for the first 6K. Got a bit excited, got a bit carried away. Ryan sent me about 3K and going, this is too quick for me. Hey?
Why wouldn't you stay with him? You're doing a workout.
Yeah, I just don't know. Gun went. There was people around. I thought I was running 3:25s, and they were just spitting out way quicker. And I just thought, I said to him, I'm feeling good today. I'm going to start going a bit quicker. So lack of discipline showed. And then I floated a K. Mind you, this course. So in the half marathon distance, 61 turns or U-turns. Like no rhythm.
What?
61 turns in total, like just like turns or U's, like it was a 2 10K laps and a 1.1K lap at the start. So it was very hard to get in a rhythm and lock in.
So there was what, like 30 turns per lap?
I think there was, yeah.
Do you mean corners or do you mean U-turns?
Like, no, there were not that many. There was like probably 3 U-turns and then in a 10K lap. But we did this 1.1K lap first, which I think had 11 turns with 2 U-turns in it. So it was hard to get a bit of a rhythm. So it was a bit twisty, turny. Kind of like, I don't know, like, we've got a bike pathy kind of stuff as well. Like just a real, like, not small town, that Bendigo's pretty big now, but like a community kind of style fun run, this one. So it was a bit hard to get some rhythm in. So I did the first 6K in, 3:12, and then I floated in 3:22, which wasn't really a float. And then I did the next 6K, and when I got to the float, I was just still feeling good. So I just kept the foot down for another 3K. So I ran 9K in the middle there at 3:17, and then I was coming back along the bike track where it was a bit skinny. So then I floated 2K there in like 3:28 and 3:27, and then picked it up for the last 3K again at 3:16s, 69:45, which was good. Heart rate average of 163. One of those days, boys, where you're just looking down at your watch and you're like, this feels too easy. Like it was just, maybe it was just being in a race. I've been doing a lot of stuff solo, 6 a.m, old beat up shoes. You know, you get in a race. I put a box fresh pair of Alpha Fly 3s on, got a haircut. Just, things felt good, boys. So I was happy with that one. And then drove back to Chukamoama. Didn't double that day, but the week was 177. It's a good week. Feeling good. Is there something to be said? Tell me this. So I'm been doing all my threshold work, 3:15 to 3:20 pace for like 5-minute reps, 2K reps, 1K rep over under. And it feels like I am working in training, but then to be able to get to a race and a twisty turny race, like not like a Gold Coast half or anything like that, and then to be able to average that for 21K, you really just got to back off in training, don't you?
There's a huge difference between race pace and race effort. I think that's where people get it super wrong.
Yeah, people chase it in training.
Yeah, they do. And they just don't understand the limitations of why it isn't the same effort to hit that pace in training.
Yeah. I've made a mistake. Go back and listen to early days of this show. I would always say I want to run a half marathon at 3:05 pace. I do all my training at 3:05. But now I'm just like, do it at 3:15, do it at 3:20. When it comes to race day, you'll be able to run 3:05s. Yeah,
it's an insecurity thing as to why you need to do it in training to have confidence you can do it on the day. It's if you're secure and you trust the process and you sort of understand it. It takes a long time to get there. Like it's taken you 10 years to get there.
Bloody oath, probably more.
Yeah, but that's the trap for new runners. Is thinking that it's all the same. Is that 5 a.m. on the back streets of fucking Geelong, North Geelong, in the dark after a shit sleep, coming off a 30K Sunday long run, is that should feel the same running your race pace as it would on race day morning.
Yeah.
You've been doing some quicker stuff though, Brady. Like you're banging out those 400s the other. Like you've been doing quicker stuff.
I have complimented it with quicker stuff, but I'm just saying my threshold work has been like almost. Well, if I've just done an hour and 10 minutes at 3:17 pace at, what's that? 163 beats per minute, and like that's what I sit at when I'm at that pace for 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, like 2022, like I was doing pretty much all my threshold work on the treadmill, 6-minute reps I wouldn't have gone any quicker than 3:20s before Sydney 10 and ran 30:30. So it's pretty much 18k an hour on the treadmill for 6-minute reps with a minute recovery, not even jogging, like jumping off the treadmill. And yeah, like that was my threshold work basically. Yeah. Occasionally I'd do like a bit of a 30-minute progression run, but I'd start at, I don't know, 16 and a half, 17k an hour, so 3:30s and work down to 3:20s.
And it helps you avoid injuries. Like you're staying away from the fire in training. Like yeah.
And it helps motivation because you're rocking up to training not dreading the workout because you know you can get it done.
Yeah, spot on. And you set yourself that window. So I'll often be like, all right, if I can land anywhere between 3:15s and 3:20s, that's success for the morning. And then I'll go, oh, fuck, I'm feeling tired or whatever it is. And I'm like, it's all right, just run them all in 3:20s. And most of the time you get through the first 2 reps and then you start working them quicker. But you have that, I don't know, like that option just to ease off a bit. I think there's something in it for sure. So that was good. I actually did 5 weeks before Chicago, I did Burnley half marathon. And I averaged 164 beats for that and ran 68:47. So I think I'm much further ahead than what I thought I was off the back of yesterday. So
yeah.
Look at just like, I reckon you only need to look at your Strava bars. Like you can't do that amount of running each week and not be going okay.
Yeah, well, I think I've averaged like 9 weeks of like 157 or something like that now.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you're doing stuff in the heat too, you're just like, all right, like it doesn't look sexy, but you've strung together, it's consistent. And then you're like, that's what was good to actually jump into it, just to be like, all right, how does this actually feel today? So yeah, all positives there. Yearning to get off the roads and onto the trails? Wondering what the fuss is all about out there in the bush? Find your epic and run with nature at the 2025 Buffalo Stampede Festival by Single Track Events. Held in Bright in Victoria's High Country on March 28 to 30th, the Stampede offers challenging trail runs with serious elevation from 10k to 100k. Sign up using the promo code INSIDERUNNING10 for a 10% discount off a race entry and your chance to win one of 3 pairs of Asics shoes. Should we thanks to Patreon supporters? Who you got, Croaks?
So I've got somebody who's signed up as Hooked on Running, which I believe is Richard Sarkis. He's a coach up in Sydney, and I'm not sure if these are his PBs, but I did find these results. 17:24 at the 2021 Sydney 10 5K event, 35:16 at the 2012 Canberra Marathon 10K, 76:15 at the 2005 Sydney Morning Herald Half, and 3:11 at the 2019 Sydney Marathon, where he actually raised $10,000 for the Indigenous Marathon Project. He's running coach, as I said, in Sydney. He's been doing it for over 30 years. So lots of junior runners, I think. So thanks for your support, Richard.
Thanks, Richard, for your support. Moose, who you got?
I have Ricky Gillespie from Arbroath in Scotland, and he or she? Ricky.
Not sure. It's him because there's a photo of him and Bekele.
Okay.
On Strava.
All right. I'd say isn't that how you spell Ricky, like the female Ricky?
No idea, Moose.
I reckon Croaks has stitched Ricky up here. But
Mate, I've cut and pasted this straight from Patreon.
He has PBs of 17:28 for 5K, 36:25 at the Stirling 10K, 84 minutes at the Dundee Half. The Dundee Half, 2:55 at last year's Valencia Marathon, and has a photo of him and Bekele the day before the race. Oh, I know someone else who got a photo with Bekele the day before the race in Berlin.
But that guy didn't finish the race.
2017.
Yep.
Croaks is there in the lobby.
Yeah,
I remember.
I just didn't get a smile out of him, unfortunately. Did seem real happy. I don't think he finished either, did he, that day?
Oh, more often than not, he doesn't finish them.
I don't think he finished.
Geez, Ricky, I've just looked him up on Instagram. He's got some ink too, Croaks. You got to start putting in those details again. Comments about their swagger, their ink. I've got to say he's got 2 sleeves. He's got a bit of ink on both the legs there. He's got the number 19 on his quad. Not sure what that means. Ricky, I'd love if you could write in and let me know there. It's in a Saw singlet. That's very high quality gear, isn't it? The Saw stuff.
Not sure it'll be a patron after Moose just had a go at him about the spelling of his name, though.
That's why I thought I'd better look him up and give him a couple of compliments
you know that
Rough from
You know how that's Ricky, what was her name? Ricky Lake?
Yeah.
Isn't that Ricky Lake spelling?
Who was the singer? Ricky Martin? How's he spell it?
CK, the man way. And then there's
Look at this
Ricky-
photo.
who is
Ricky
that
would knock
Ricky-
you out too. He looks like he could fight. Let me put
off
this in
the
the group
Australian
chat.
Idol. Was it Ricky someone?
Ricky,
Ricky Lee?
yeah,
Ricky
I
Lee?
knew
Ricky
you'd know
Lee.
that, Croaks.
Ricky Lee was RIKKI, I reckon.
Croaks, you would have been voting on Australian Idol and stuff, wouldn't you?
RICKI is Ricky Lee.
Uh,
Have a look at that
It's
photo.
a
I just put in the
combination.
group chat of him. He's a good looking rooster, and I reckon he could fight. I'm going to thank Trent Gauci. Got that right, Croaks? It's not
Reckon?
It's not Gucci because the U would be before the A, wouldn't it? He's from Melbourne. Primary club on Strava is the Gun Runners, but pretty sure he runs for Collingwood. He's ran 18:06 at the Albert Park Run, 36:46 at last year's Lakeside 10K, 82 minutes at the 2023 Gold Coast Half, and 2:56 at the 2023 Melbourne Marathon. Have you looked at those PBs, Moose? Which is the best one, or are you still looking at that photo of Ricky?
sorry, Ricky. I didn't mean what I said. You do have some serious guns on you.
And the tan and the tats. He's got the tats all the way down to his knuckles.
Yeah,
He may have been in jail
Ricky's
before.
a good. That is how you spell the man, Ricky. I think. Ricky, that's my bad.
That's the only way to spell Ricky.
82
Trent?
minutes is pretty good there, I reckon. 30. No, it's not. 36:46. I'm going.
There you go, Trent. That's your best PB according to the Big Moose. Thanks to our Patreon supporters for their support of the Inside Running podcast. If you like what we do, all the details of the show, and if it brings you value, you can support us financially at patreon.com/Inside Running Podcast. If bonus content's what you're after, if the main show doesn't do it for you, for the week, we got heaps of bonus content happening at the moment. The Inside Running Podcast UK boys of Matt Clues, Aaron Scott, and Dan Nash. They recorded an episode yesterday. Listened to it today. They were good. They were big fans of your Kipolimo stuff, Croaks.
Oh, great.
Big fans of that. They brought you up on there. Very happy with your work there. Clousey, he nearly got going. I'm going to have a chat to Aaron and Dan because he was, when people get going and the questioning could really keep them going even more, they changed direction when Clousey was getting real worked up. So when he gets going, they've got to keep encouraging that, not suppress it. So that was this morning. We also had a very special episode drop over the weekend. Leanne Pompiani documented her 7-week marathon build, Croaks. Every big session, every workout. If you're in a train and chat, and potentially this is you'd think she's got a pretty big chance to break the Australian debut record on Sunday at Nagoya, which we'll get to in a second. If you're into that, you can also sign up and get that as well. You can also purchase all the episodes as an individual purchase. You don't have to become a monthly subscriber if you just want to listen to one thing. So if you're into the UK boys, there's an option just to get them. If you're into Chriso and Toby, you can get the monthly. If you want to just hear Leanne, it's like the price of a coffee. You can just get that audio delivered straight to your Spotify, iTunes, whatever account. All the details on there to be able to do that. Running News, Axel Coffee, our race results partner. And the secret to starting every run on the right foot, nothing beats a good coffee before hitting the pavement. Couldn't you send your photo of you drinking coffee in Moose during the week? The promo.
I sent it in. You didn't see it?
I just saw a picture of you running on the promo.
Yeah, I know. He didn't use the one I sent in.
Bullshit, didn't he?
Didn't like it.
Oh, so I just got asked, send me a quote and send me a photo of you drinking coffee.
Can you send us the photo, Moose, the group chat?
Yeah, I
I
want to
already
see it.
did. I put it in.
I don't know if I've seen it.
Nah, I didn't see it, Moose.
I don't reckon you
Yeah,
sent a
you
photo.
blokes.
Lost
You
in the
did.
mail. Got lost
Yeah, I'll
in the
reply
mail.
to it now so you can see it.
I reckon you've stitched up Zaka there and he's had to find a different photo of you. But massive thanks to Axel Coffee, massive thanks to everyone who interacted with that post. We love what they do over there. Let's go to Tokyo Marathon first. This was probably the big story of the weekend because Jess Stenson was finally going to run a flat marathon. And Moose, did you watch any footage? Wasn't available in Australia unless you had Flow Track, pain in the ass. And yeah, the tracker was good, wasn't it?
How am I going to watch it if I can't watch it anywhere, mate?
Well,
How am I gonna watch it?
I think if you had Flow Track, then you could still watch it.
But
But on
I'll stop paying for that.
Yeah, I went to the website and it said like, I put a story up because I was annoyed about it, but it pretty much said something like, here's the 130 countries it's available in, this is how you get it, and Australia wasn't even an option. We got our very best marathoner, like off the Olympic results, 13th at the Olympics, big name in the Australian running scene, probably public sporting scene as well, and there's no option to be able to watch her run a major marathon, which isn't, it's the fault of the broadcasters, isn't it? So, like, people would get the option, I guess all the broadcasters would get the option to purchase it, and just no one does.
Yeah, I guess so. No one finds enough value in it. I wonder what it would be costing. It'd be really interesting.
Chris
to reach out
talk
one
about.
time.
Yeah, I've spoken about this so many times, and I actually have to action it because every time this happens, we whinge about it. But I know Chriso will purchase it for Norway, and then they'll just get the rights, and they do the commentary over the top. So I'm sure
they'll sell it, right?
They'll. I don't know if they sell it or they just do it out of the goodness of their hearts kind of thing.
Oh no, because he's backed by the National Federation though. Well, he's backed by the national broadcaster, I reckon.
Yeah, so maybe they buy it.
So he gets funding from them. So that's kind of like ABC getting it, I guess.
Yeah. We just need to figure out how much it costs. Like, how do you do the back end of that? Like, do you have to have it hosted on your website, or you can send it straight to your Facebook page, and then you just make it as cheap as possible. You just make it 50 cents or $1 just to cover your costs.
It's like cycling in Australia. Like, you never used to see a lot of international cycling, and then SBS a few years back, I guess quite a few now, like I reckon when Cadel Evans was going well, they then started like showing it live. And now it's like all the major cycling tours are on SBS. Like, there's a heap of cycling on Australian, like, free to air TV. But I guess it comes down to the demand, and we're biased. Like, we love distance running, but do the general
we could put it into our niche. And does it get cheaper if no one buys it? Like, can you be like, hey, like, you guys are getting nothing from the Australian audience, can we lowball you and get it for cheap?
Surely they would rather something rather than nothing. But what about they used to it used to be on Eurosport, and then KO. So KO won't.
I think KO just used to do, like, they'd purchase Valencia as a one-off. That's the only one I've seen on KO.
I know I've said this so many times, but when I first got Foxtel, like back in like 2014, one of the main reasons I got Foxtel was because it had all the majors. You could watch London, you could watch Berlin. I remember even watching Fukuoka one year on like Foxtel, and then they just slowly disappeared from that. And I'm like, well, I'm only using this now for rugby league and a music channel. So I'm just like, and then KO came along.
I used to save them all. I used to like get the VHS out and save them, or save them on the hard drive that you used to have on your whatever you used to call it. But,
like, I used to be able to watch Paris. Like, Paris Marathon used to be on Foxtel.
Frankfurt.
You
get some. Anyway, let's talk about Jess Stenson, who was in action there.
Yes, she had a good day. So what was she going in? A PB of 2:23 high, I believe, from her qualifying event. The race she got qualified at, was it 2:23.59?
I reckon it might have been 2:24 flat or 2:24.01 or something.
Oh, it was right on that. Yeah. It was debatable. I think one result showed one, the other didn't. Yeah, but so she'd never really run one on one of these sort of fast courses. It's always been kind of a money chase for her, or whatever was convenient in terms to get qualifiers, or she was a championship racer. So we were waiting for her to come out and attack a fast one, and attack she did. The first split that came through, I remember Ali sent it through to a message thread that we have, and she was on track to run 2:18 high or something like that. And I thought, oh shit, this could go sort of two ways here. We could see one of the greatest runs we've ever seen, or it could turn absolute pear-shaped. I'm not sure if that was accurate, that first 5K. I don't think it was.
It is slightly down. It is downhill. When you look at this like Strava profile, it is like downhill. I reckon Brady was getting a bit worried there that he may not have been the fastest Lulu marathoner for much longer.
Yeah, we've been real awkward at the Lululemon camp.
He didn't seem like he was very supportive actually during the race.
Bullshit.
And that could have
I'm
been
a big fan of Jess. I sit in seat 1A, you know that. I was busy with the kids. I didn't see any footage, and it wasn't.
I was surprised. I was surprised when all these splits were coming through, and it was like, okay, 2:18, and then even at halfway, it was like 70:05, and I sort of went back through her World Athletics profile, and from what I can tell, that was her second fastest half marathon ever, behind her 69 low at Melbourne. I think she'd run a 70:08 at Gold Coast before, but that was the second fastest half marathon, I think.
Yeah, that's never tends to work out too well unless you're a real up-and-comer who hasn't had a full crack before. But she did run 69 low at Melbourne back in October, and she's always shown signs that she's faster than what she actually is. I don't think times are really her thing. She's really a racer.
2:26. So Commonwealth Games when she ran 2:26 on that super hilly course, that was a super world-class sort of performance, although the time doesn't show it. And, she's never really had the opportunity up until now to get on a fast course. Yeah, I mean, even
2:25 at that bloody Perth race she ran. That is incredible, really. So she's gone through in 70:05, and she did obviously slow through the back section of the course. The wheels started to fall off a little around the 35K mark, 35 to 40. I think her split was up high 17 minutes, so she was starting to run maybe 2:30 pace around that time. And she ended up coming through. She finished in 10th place, so she was sticking around the 13th, 12th position, and she's come through. Even though she did have a little blow up, she still came through the field to finish in 10th spot. So hopefully that nets her some cash or a bonus or something, being top 10 in a major. She ran 2:22.56, splits with 70:05, 72:51. Third Australian of all time, fastest South Australian. It was a qualifier for the World Championships in Tokyo later in the year, if that's what she decides to do. And yeah, I mean, again, she just sort of elevates herself in the race to finish her career as one of the greatest we've ever had.
Uncharacteristic pacing from Jess. When I saw 70:05, I was like, yeah, shit, she doesn't get the back end wrong. If anything, she gets it quicker in the back half. I was there are a lot of people getting excited about Australian records when they saw 70:05 and knowing Jess's history in the back end of marathons. Because what is it, 2:40, 2:45 positive split? I know she got a third all time, but if I did that, you blokes would rip me to absolute shreds.
I think, Brady, from what I can understand and from what she wrote, it was more a case of she had to make a call on whether she was going to run with the pack or do her own thing and be basically running on her own. I'm sure there would have been some guys around, but it was essentially, all right, I've got to make the call here. I'm going to go with the pack. Yeah, it might cost me in the end, but I think that's the reason why she did it.
Yeah, an educated risk.
Yeah, that's one of the issues with some of these races, these majors, for someone in Jess's position. The winner runs 2:16. There's a lot of girls peppering the 2:20 mark, but outside of that, because the field, the elite field, is so prestigious, the sub-elite field probably ends up going to different races where they would have a better chance of being in that front pack, like Nagoya, for instance, or Osaka maybe, or a ton of other races that there are around. So
it's mixed gender though, Moose. She would have had plenty of sub-elite men to run with.
But the Japanese don't run it the way that you kind of want to pace it to run it for you. Yeah. Everyone goes pretty hard and they start falling over around you, which is she's really tucked into that Japanese culture.
And also, and at the end of the day, she's a world-class competitor, so in a way she's racing. So by going with the pack, it's okay, she feels like she's part of the race as opposed to potentially just going off and doing her own thing. I guess the question is, if there was a pack going through 70-40, does she run a bit faster than this? I think she does if she just goes a little bit slower through halfway. Maybe not the record, but fairly close, because as we know, like, you running maybe 30 seconds too quick in the first half probably ends up meaning you run, a minute slower than you should by the end of it. So,
yeah, I think you're right there. I think she runs faster, but it's a bit of a free swing, I guess, for her. I reckon she would probably be antsy to go out and put it on the line. Just sort of spend a lot of time running safe races before. Not so much safe races, but running for qualifiers, making sure she gets the time to get on teams, or running solo at places like Perth and all that. This one here is like, let's just have a crack at it. You blow up, there's not a lot to lose, really.
And she hasn't been back running that long since having to pull out of Valencia last year. Like, this year's going to be fascinating, though, because you'd have to think that, given Jess hasn't been back at it that long, she stays healthy for the rest of the year, potentially skips World Champs and goes and does Valencia. And then you've got, Izzy running next weekend, which, based on what she's been doing, you'd have to think Izzy will go just as fast as this, if not faster. It's going to be a good year. Just these girls going back and forth.
That South Australian record.
Yeah,
that's the only state in Australia that worries about their state records, isn't it? I've never heard, like, I guess Sinead's a Victorian record holder. Brett, is he Victorian or ACT?
Yeah, what does that count as?
Probably Victorian. He's probably registered down there, I'd say.
Is it about what club you register?
Yeah,
at?
I think it's where you're registered.
I don't like that. I think it should be where you're born.
Yeah, like if you're born and bred and lived in Canberra for 20 years and moved to Melbourne and signed up for a Melbourne club, breaks this. Yeah, that's silly.
Good. It's great. We're only getting better in this marathon, the Australians.
When I saw a halfway split, I was just like, with what's been happening in world athletics at the moment, and like just all these records, I'm like, when I saw 70.05, thinking that, okay, she's potentially going to break 220 here. And, like, down the track, she probably can. Like, you look at some of the US girls that have already done it, I'm like, I just don't understand this sport anymore. It's like, this is pretty, like, up until Melbourne half last year, that's a half marathon PB for her. I just didn't, and then obviously, like, the marathon does show you who's boss when you have gone a little bit too hard in that first half.
Yeah.
She's also...
Physiology wins the history of the marathon. Yeah. Look, the marathon won. However, she still put a time on the board that she's obviously very happy with.
Yeah.
And that we're pretty stoked to see as well.
That's right. There's only been 2 Aussies gone faster.
Yeah.
Yeah. The men's race, did you see any of this footage? Like, you see any highlights or anything? Like, Cheptegei?
Saw the guy who won. The guy who won looks like a bit of a... it doesn't look like your normal runner.
Had dreadlocks, didn't he? Little dreads?
Yeah, just a bit different looking. So, I mean, the women's... Should I read out the women's winners?
Oh, yeah, Kebede.
Kebede, 2:16:31.
She was
Remember
second
Kebede?
Yeah, the little guy. Yep.
Yeah, Chicago. Kebede versus Wanjiru. Chicago.
I reckon
the commentator.
this Kebede was second at Chicago last year when I did it, but no one would have known that because Ruth Cheptegei ran 6 or 7 minutes quicker than her.
Winfrida Mora Massetti ran 2:16:56 and Harvey Facer ran 2:17. So very fast at Tokyo. Very fast. And were they in the front pack with Jess? And did they all kick down dramatically?
We don't know, mate. No one's seen it.
I don't know. But I would have thought based on... I would have thought they're probably ahead earlier than through halfway.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if she was at 2:18 pace through 10K, they're probably together.
Yeah.
And they found a minute in the second half.
In the men's, another famous Ethiopian name, Tadese. Oh, no, he was Eritrean, wasn't he?
He was.
He ran 2:03:23. Is this Tadese from Ethiopia or from Eritrea?
I'll find out for you, Moose. You keep going.
Ethiopia. 2 Ethiopian winners I read today.
All right, 2:03:23. So very fast, very swift. don't think it was a race record because who's run there? Kipchoge's run there, but I don't think he got the record when he did it. Or maybe he did.
Yeah, I reckon he might have.
Yeah, maybe it's Kipchoge. Galeta de Ressa ran 2:03.51, and Getic Vincent Kiplemoy ran 2:04 flat for third. And was that Joseph Cheptegei in ninth? 2:05.59.
2:02.16, Benson Kipruto.
Benson, he was in that race.
Recent years.
He came seventh or something in this race, Benson Kipruto.
Yeah, he did.
So he
and
didn't have
Chepter's
the
in
best
ninth.
run.
That's only Cheptegei's second marathon. Like, he did Valencia and that was worse than this, so this was a PB for him. But
yeah,
still,
and Kebede won the women's last year in 2:15.55.
maybe the marathon sorts out these Ugandans.
Kiplimo, you don't reckon?
Wow, Cheptegei's good over half and over 10K on the track. Maybe Kiplimo's going to have the same issues in the marathon when he gets there.
It's
He'd be doing all his
not a lock,
same
is it?
coach, wouldn't he, as Cheptegei?
I don't know.
They're trainer partners, aren't they?
Cheptegei hasn't done what Kiplimo's done over the half, though.
It's pretty good, though, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
No one has.
Well, I don't think he.
Yeah,
what
literally.
has Cheptegei run for the half? I don't think he's really dominated the roads, Cheptegei.
You called him Joseph as well, Moose. His name's Joshua Cheptegei.
Oh, sorry, mate.
I thought you were wrong. When you said that, I'm like, I'm pretty sure his name's not Joseph Cheptegei.
Jeez, having a rough one, aren't I, tonight?
Sorry. 59.21, Croaks.
Yeah, so 59.21 for a guy that's the world record holder over 10K is not that great.
That was a Poland world champs, though, wasn't it? I think it was pretty tactical.
But he hasn't done a lot on the roads.
I'm going to take you to BU Last Chance indoor race. This was today. Yared Nuguse come out and said, actually, I want that world record back over the mile, but he didn't get it. He ran 3:47.22. So Jakob Ingebrigtsen hangs on to that one. Our boy Oli Hoare ran a PB. He ran a 3:50.77. And Anstey, do we know his first name? Jack Anstey?
Jack Anstey.
He was fourth in the same race in 3:51.97 from an Australian point of view. In the 5K, Lauren Ryan ran 15:05 for third place. Race was won by Gisette Andrews. She's part of that on group as well in 14:44. So that's moving. Kai Robinson was there. I expected big things from Kai here. I thought we'll keep our Australian record streak alive after, Jess missed it. I'm like, all right, we've still got Kai. We can continue talking about Australian records. He missed it though, and he missed the qualifier. He had to run 13:01. He ran 13:02 for the 5K. Came third. Race was won by Nico Young in 12:51. So considering he ran, 13 seconds quicker than Jack over 3K indoors when he broke the Australian record, now he's ran, 3 seconds slower than Jack over 5K. So yeah, it's a bit of maths for you there, boys.
Yeah, I guess different race, different pacing. I believe that these guys were probably a little bit more aggressive than what Jack's race was. And I think over the 5K, if you're that a little bit too quick in those middle stages, you really pay for it over the last laps. Whereas I feel like the Jack's race was pretty much set up at 13-minute pace, and those other two boys just kicked down real late. Whereas I feel like here they were on, 12:50 pace or 12:54 or something. Yeah, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is at that sort of level.
I love how he said he feels all this stuff, Moose, and this is exactly what Jordan Donnelly wrote in the group chat today. He's just read it out.
He's stitching him up there.
Taking credit for his ideas,
That
Croaks.
is called plagiarism.
Perth Track Classic, Croaks. Did you watch any of this? It's a long way away, Perth. Saturday night again.
It's probably on about 10 o'clock out. Well, yeah, 10 o'clock our time maybe. There's only really two distance events. So it was a men's and women's 1,500 metres. Sophie O'Sullivan, she got the win, 4:06.74, which was a meet record. Morty Skyring was second, 4:07.28. And Jayla Hancock Cameron was third, 4:07.88. In the men's race, Callum Davies got the win, 3:40.77. Ryoji Tadazawa from Japan was second, 3:40.87. And Peyton Craig was third in 3:41.13. So that was pretty much the distance events at the Perth Track Classic. We then had Queensland 3K champs. So in the men's, Connor Lattouf got the win, 8:16, beating Ben Tacey in 8:18. And Leah Simpson won the women's 9:28, beating Chloe Pateman 9:43. And
Folks,
yep,
Folks, what Callum? Like they got the 3K champs on the same night as a track classic. How are you expecting your best runners to show up?
Well, I guess they're not, are they? Well, yeah. I don't know. Like, well, even the Perth Track Classic probably wasn't an amazing field either, really.
No, that's true, but
Doesn't help either of the events when they're on the same night.
Yeah, I mean, you could get the 1500 3K. That's a double that's a distance that goes across that. Like the runner will go across those two events, and so Callum Davies, one of probably the top 2 or 3 track runners in Queensland. That you would have hoped that you could bring him to your meet.
Yeah, but I don't know, like we sort of see it at a lot of the state championships. Like look at the Victorian state champs the other week. Like you look at the field and there weren't that many of the state's top 1500 metre runners running. I think the real top guys in the country really don't value a state championship, which is probably against like the old school approach. Like I know when I was a bit younger doing track, like the older guys that were like coaching me and that sort of thing, like a state championship back then for them actually meant quite a lot. Whereas now for these guys, I don't think it does.
Yeah, it's changed.
Yeah. And also Run the Bridge. Remember Run the Bridge, boys? It was like one of the premier 10K road races in the country.
Well, you say that like it's disappeared 20 years ago, Croaks. I remember it up until this year. I didn't even know it was. I've never seen a drop off from one year to the next. This has been a huge event for years, and then I didn't even know it was on, and then someone wrote into our DM saying there's no live stream, and I'm like, what? That's not on this weekend, surely. And it was on yesterday.
Yeah, so luckily Jimmy Hansen rocked up because he was really the only runner, of note, like in terms of calibre. 29:44 he won, and Millie Clark won the women's in 35:15, and 35:15 got her 13th overall, which sort of shows how quickly it dropped off. So I'm not sure what's going on there. You reckon money is a money issue?
Yeah, I did reach out to a couple of my Tasmanian whisperers just to get a bit of intel about what was happening down there, and they said, yeah, the hype was pretty low. Let me just actually open the message now. Yeah, elite perspective, maybe more of a focus on Launceston and Burnie. This is just whispering though. No, but yeah. But apparently the event had record numbers, which does bring the point. Like, do you need those top 20 guys breaking 30 minutes, 30 to actually, like, you probably saved a whole lot of money. Not bringing them in, not paying for their flights, not putting them up in accommodation, not paying out big prize money. And your bottom line's actually probably better off because you've got sold out entries, bibs.
Well, these events, like, it's a business for them. So yeah, they're in the business of trying to make some money. So yeah, like all they care about is really probably entry numbers. But Jimmy won by over a minute. Whereas, like, you remember the years where it was like Benny Saint and
Brett Robinson, Jack Rayner,
Liam Adams. Remember they were like they came into some building and were basically lunged at the line.
That's right. Yeah, have you done it? I've done it a couple of times. It's a good race.
I haven't done it.
Pretty tough, like some big downhill you get, but some hills up there as well. So our man Nick Earl comes third in 32:59. I think he did put on his Strava. It's his worst result ever there, but he snagged third spot. It's probably his highest result, but worst time.
Yeah.
It's you say that it saves them money, but it does cost. It does end up costing like media attention. So the race might not feature in the newspapers about it. Where like we might not talk about it if it continues like this next year. Like in terms of the running community getting around it, you just get less Instagram or less social media hype about it because the big runners aren't there that follow these events. They're not talking about it. They're not posting about it. So I think the better races, they do have the elite component to it. I mean, even City to Surf still has an elite component, even though they don't focus on it. I think you still need it.
Yeah, I do as well, but very biased because it often benefits us if you're getting free flights or accommodation or whatever it is. Last bit of news I've got, boys. This was bad to read. Briman Misoi Kip Korea. He was the winner of the Sydney Marathon last year, and he returned a positive sample of EPO and furosemide in an out-of-competition test conducted just 2 months after he won the 2024 Sydney Marathon. TSC Sydney Marathon confirmed no adverse findings were presented by Kip Korea in his pre-competition and in competition. Actually saw him getting tested, boys, after the race, conducted on race day. Not good. Which brings to the point that, okay, these guys test positive, but they're not going to test positive in an event. So how many of these guys do we have running around in our events who you're trying to catch and you can't catch them?
Was it Zane Robertson tested positive in Sydney Marathon?
Confirmed? Did he?
Yeah.
Was it Sydney Marathon that popped him?
Sydney Marathon.
Well, I don't know if you've got that. Didn't he get the news when he was at Sydney Marathon?
I'm wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I think he was in Australia for the Sydney Marathon when he got the news. Yeah,
he was in the night before. The night before he got the news.
Yeah,
that's my bad.
Was it a US race that he tested positive, or was it just in an out of competition one?
I think it was a race in Europe maybe.
Yeah, I'll try and look for it before the end. But also the guy who won the year before at Sydney had served a suspension previously.
Yes.
But yeah, back to your point, Brady, it's like there's no way that this guy starts taking EPO after he's won Sydney Marathon. So all of his tests pre-competition and in competition at Sydney come back negative. Doesn't then win Sydney and go, I think I'm going to start taking EPO now. So like these guys are obviously on it well before, and just because they don't test positive, it doesn't mean that they're not actually on something.
He'll get a lifetime ban now from all the world marathon majors. I was talking to my old man about this on the weekend, because I can see why they do it. Like, you tell me I can take these drugs, win this amount of money, change my family and friends and extended family's lives forever, and the consequence is you're going to ban me from 7 races? Like, no criminal charges. Like, don't have to repay the money. You're like, that's it? You're just going to ban
100%.
me for a couple of races or ban me for 4 years? I'm like, this is different way of life of living, and this money is... This is huge money we're talking for people like you and I. So imagine what it's like for people coming out of Kenya.
Yeah.
Well, it sets them up, it sets the rest of their family up, and it sets their kids up for life. And if you had the chance to do that where it wasn't a stigma over there that you're a cheat or you're filth, basically, which is how we treat dopers over here, or cheats. Like, you can't show your face in public if you're a cheat over here. I think it seems like it's very different over there, considering how many positive tests they have. If it's not that stigma, then he doesn't have to give money back, does he? Like, this bloke, he's not giving prize money back for this.
Nah, and you never hear, because no one ever comes out and goes, you know what, this was the pharmacist giving it to me, or the doctor, or this is how we accessed it from a manager. Like, I wish someone would just bring the whole house down. And I feel like I interviewed Wayne, and he was kind of saying, look, the course, I feel for these guys trying to put these fields together, because he was banging on about, it's a fast course. Look, the winner ran 2:06.18. The fast guys can run fast here. Like, he's trying to pump up his course, and then it makes it look bad when they get popped. This guy, Liam, because Liam Adams was pacing the men, so me and him were up there at the hotel and stuff, and I think Liam only got to 10k because he was gassed, because this guy was on his heels, he said, just going faster. Like, go watch, if you've got time, put it on your treadmill watch list, Croaks, go watch this race again and just look at how aggressive this guy was. They're almost getting pissed off with him in the pack, going like, we're not meant to be on this fast, like, stop telling the pace to go faster. Like, Liam had to pull out at 10k, probably cost himself a bit of money not getting the 20k, just because this guy was like trying to blow the whole field up and run 2:06 off the front. So, and it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
Probably.
Zane tested positive at a race in Manchester.
Okay. Oh, was that one of the Great North runs or something? One of those ones? Great South runs?
Maybe.
Something like that.
It would have been good for him to come out and discuss it all, but even he said that there's threats around that when that happens. Like, it's hard. You don't want to give too much airtime to all that, but you would also like to hear the backstories to it a little more. Yeah,
you'd be worried about your safety, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
this year they need a real clean-cut winner. Because I know that guy who won 2 years ago, like he'd served his band and returned, but it still had a bit of a, would have been good if he didn't win kind of thing. Had cheated in the past.
100%.
So, like, they need, like...
Kip Lemo.
And some people probably listening going like, well, why don't they only invite, not Kip Lemo, why don't they only invite, Aussie guys or whatever, like if you've got more faith in them, or maybe that's not the case, maybe our guys are all dirty as well, but I'd like to think they're not. But you need to, when you're a world marathon major, you need to hit certain criteria about who you have on the start line. So they need to have X amount of runners who have PBs under a certain time. I don't know exactly what it is. Moose, you might know more. You also need to have an X amount of elite runners from different regions of the world. So like trying to find these guys, and because if they're taking performance enhancing drugs and getting quicker, it then makes it harder to find them because the goalposts move. It's like the standard. Like 205 might not get you invited to a race anymore, so you've got to become a 204 guy.
Don't we have the big dog coming this year though?
Oh, you listen to the monthly?
No.
Oh. Yeah, well, they weren't my words. They weren't my words.
Someone's announced that. The big dog's coming. Well, we won't say who the big dog is, but think about the biggest of the dogs out there.
Not of the views or the opinion of any of us three of the Inside Running podcast.
So I don't know the answer to that. I just heard some whispers.
You listened to it, didn't you,
proper
Croaks?
whisper.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay.
Well, who said? Christian said.
Yeah, I'm never going to repeat anything that Christian says. Christian's got his own voice. He goes out and says his own things. Those results are brought to you by Axel Coffee. Their specialty instant coffee is a game changer. If you're all about convenience, it's instant, but it tastes good. Try it yourself. Just add hot water and you're good to go. Whispers. This was a good one that come in my inbox. Come through as a voice memo. Yeah, you guys are big voice memo kind of guys?
No, I'm not.
No, neither am I, but I opened this one and it said, hey, Brady, I heard you talking on the monthly, and I thought, shit, this isn't good when you get a voice memo talking about content that's happened on the monthly. This was from a man who does some lab testing, and he said that Adidas Evo 1, not worth what you're paying for it, because we did have a chat about this a few weeks ago. He said he's tested 4 different people for their running economy in this shoe. All 4 of them have come out less efficient compared to a Vaporfly, Alphafly, and Asics Metasky Edge. So
you mean their running economy was
their VO2,
better
whatever they
in
measure,
the other shoes?
whatever they measure. You know, remember the old mate, that lab rack guy you had on shoes?
Yeah.
Same stuff. Like they can work out their percentages, which shoe's more efficient for you. I said it may be expensive, that shoe, but don't go buying it thinking you want to run a PB in your next marathon.
Toby didn't really rate it, did he?
Nah, Toby wasn't. He wore it for a workout around that Chanel loop moose. He didn't think it was that good.
I've put it on before, and it feels a little empty for me. Like it doesn't. I certainly don't get the feel that it should cost that much.
$750, isn't it?
Yeah, that's I definitely didn't feel like that to me. I've put some shoes on recently, and they have felt, this thing feels like it should be expensive underfoot, but it wasn't that one.
Yeah, okay. So just there's a sample size of 4. Not a lot of people, but 4 people. Some smart man in the lab telling me that. Nick Earl wrote in, Strava Weather uses the American model, which is grids of 27 by 27K over Australia. So it's not that accurate. It's not accurately representing your town at all. So we got to the bottom of that one. This one come in about 6 or 7 times over the last 4 or 5 days. Brett Robinson, off Strava or injured. Last run on Strava, I think, was last Thursday. Looked like it was maybe like a treadmill run. Like, be aware but not alarmed at this stage. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days. May just be having a break from Strava, which I don't mind. But bloody hell, if he's injured, that'd be shocking. He'd need, like...
It wouldn't be, like, uncommon for him to be injured. Like, he's a fair... You'd say that he would be fairly injury-prone of late.
26th of Feb, what day was that? He did 4K at 3:20. There's no map up here, so maybe it was a treadmill, or maybe he's got his privacy settings. He was close to home.
Maybe he's blocked you.
Maybe he has, but this is people screenshot him and send them to me. So, but yeah, probably a good idea to block me. Missed Olympics. Didn't he miss something else as well? Oh no, he got the record taken off him.
Went to Melbourne. Ran the
Shock
half.
at Melbourne.
Murakami. You ran Murakami?
Yeah, that's right. I think it would be good to see Brett Robinson bounce back at London in 8 weeks' time anyway. This would be a shame if he had to pull out of London.
I saw one session, he went to Albert Park and did some like really fast 200s or something I saw the other week.
On the track?
Yeah, like it was a really short. It was a really short session. I was sort of surprised by it.
Also, one of the whisperers said wasn't sighted on the long run on Sunday with like Jack, Jude Thomas, Charlotte Purdue.
Yeah, so here he did an hour around Albert Park at 4:22s, then went to the track and ran a 42-second 300, had a minute 30 recovery, ran a 43-second 300, then had 2.5 minutes recovery, then ran a 27 200, 26 200, and a 27 200. Then that was it, which I thought was like weird. So it was what, two
top end speed work,
two 300s and what, three 200s.
Yeah,
maybe he was going to go to the indoors as well.
2:16k pace for a 200. You remember when I told you to stop doing those quick 200s, Croaks, because you end up injured? Maybe someone, I don't know why Brett Robinson would be doing this in a marathon block. You could be onto something there, Bradley Croker. He might have done his calf after that workout.
I don't know.
Good research from you. You'll probably be blocked by him as well going forward. Someone's put in my whispers here, which I don't like. Sinead, question mark. Is that just asking if I have any whispers about Sinead Diver?
I think it's, I reckon it's probably time to start asking the question.
She's secretive. No one knows anything about Sinead.
Well, she put something up on Instagram the other
her kid's skateboarding. Her kid's a good skateboarder.
It was I think it was, I don't know, just her out. I think it was like they're in the bush. Like, I don't know if it was like a girls' weekend away or something.
Oh, she's allowed to have a girls' weekend away, mate. If she wants.
Carly
had one this weekend as well.
Or was it or she riding a bike? I don't know.
You want to get a bit of running content, give us an update, Sinead, if you're out there. A lot of listeners be keen. Whoever wrote that comment's also interested. The other last thing, new XCR Calendar Moose for our friends down here in Victoria. They released their 10-race series. The big news was I was at work when this happened and DMs were lighting up at work when I got to my phone at lunchtime. No Bandura. Bandura's been moved to Ballarat for the test event for National Cross Country, which is going to be held there for the next 3 years. So Victorians had a big advantage getting to run a 10k cross country there before the Nationals happen this year. But Bandura's been on the, how many people even remember from their primary school, secondary school days when you used to go down to Bandura? I actually didn't mind this if they just move it for 1 year, then take it back.
I think they could have done it. I think they could have done a different event down at Ballarat.
The schools are still there, Croaks.
Schools are still Bandura?
Yeah, they're just for the open dogs. Maybe they're like the under 20s as well, I'd assume. But Ballarat...
I reckon they could have tested the waters down there, got the event like up and running, got the course smoothed out, all the parking. There is a fair bit to it, to an event. Like, you got to work out where all the marquee goes, traffic management, all this sort of stuff. But you could have put an 8K there, got rid of Hanging Rock, chucked it at Ballarat, and kept the Bandura race. Because I'm a traditionalist. You know, I love Bandura. I think it's the home of cross country in Australia even. Yeah.
I'm a bit sad. Hopefully it's just a year and it comes back. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt there. But Ballarat are laughing. So they have they got the Ballarat, they got the 10k cross country now. They got the 15k road race there, and then they've got that. It used to be the Ekiden Relays. That's been scrapped now, and now it's a 12k cross country, just 30 minutes up the road there at Merrimanong. So, I don't want to hear anyone whinging from Ballarat when you got three of 7 races are in your hometown.
Which is this 12k?
They're moving. They're moving that from. I think it's a 12k, maybe the one that used to be at Cruden Farm.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was at Hanging Rock as well. Maybe Hanging Rock's only going to be 8k now because they also cut Bendigo off the St. Anne's winery one. So a bit of movement.
That's good. No one liked that.
Bendigo?
Yeah, no one liked that, right?
No one liked it because it was hard. It was convenient for me to get there, though.
So Cruden was 12, was it? Yeah, that was tough.
That moved to Hanging Rock last year, though, because I did that. That was 12k.
Yeah, that's 8k now at Hanging Rock.
And 12k is the one at Merrimanong.
Merniong,
is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, at St. Anne's.
Yeah, that's the winery there.
Yep.
But then the other new one was a 5K road race at Albert Park, which I don't mind this because it's rare to run a 5K road race on a certified course. Don't get to do that often. But it's at the same location your Albert Park 10K is. It's a bit boring having two at the same location. Like, you're pretty much just going to do half the 10K course, aren't you?
Yeah. They could have put it on a nice hilly little loop somewhere. Like, I guess it's a convenience factor. It's a headquarters for AV there. Like, they can just walk out their door and set the course up, closed loop, probably pretty cheap.
Finish on the track.
Fast. Maybe they get a certified course there so they can get some records going, that kind of thing, some qualifiers.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a fast 5K road race because, you look around the country and it was pretty much always Noosa Bolt was the only one that was really certified and people ran somewhat fast at. So it'd be good to have another one.
Geez, it'd be good if they just went around the lake, no U-turns. I guess they'd only have to have one U-turn if they did the 10K course, though, wouldn't they? Out and back.
Oh, yeah. They'd probably do that.
That's the whispers for this week. Moose on the loose.
Yeah, just writing it up now, actually.
Yeah, I can see it appearing as we're talking.
So the first one was, I noticed that someone from Tokyo, there was like an article that someone from Tokyo faced extreme conditions to finish the marathon on Sunday morning. Now, boys, I'm not sure what your definition of extreme conditions is, but I don't think it's 16 degrees with a little bit of sunshine. So let's just everyone take a step back and realise that extreme conditions means the end of the bell curve, I'd say, perhaps, like very, very high winds, extreme rain, precipitation, like perhaps snow you could call extreme conditions, maybe heat that's above 30 degrees. What else could we call it? Hail. What I don't think is extreme conditions is 16 degrees Celsius weather. That's it. That's the limit to the extremeness there. So, like, let's not try to find excuses for people's performances through the weather, because that ain't it.
Yeah, on the warmer side for a marathon, a bit warmer than ideal.
Come on, Brady, fuck's sake.
I'm not saying
degrees,
I'm with
mate.
you. I'm not saying it's extreme. I'm just saying it's a bit on the warmer side. Like, if I was running a marathon, I'd want 8 to 11 degrees. That would be ideal. But
you know what I'd want? I'd want 8 to 11 too, with no wind and not a single metre of elevation. And I'd want my road pancake flat. I would
paces the whole way, Moose. Give me paces to 39.5k and then move out of the way and let me continue on. Someone handed me gels from the bike so I don't have to lean in and pick up cups.
Exactly.
Give me that as well. Right. You know what they did for Ali Kipchoge at Monza? I want that for my next marathon.
Yeah. And anything outside of that, that's a hurdle. Like, that's
a challenge. It's a challenging day.
I got to get over this. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. This is extreme conditions.
Yeah, we should program ourselves to expect the worst instead of hoping for the best.
We've had this conversation before, and then mentally, if you're expecting the best, you're fucked. You're not going to handle that well if your expectation is perfect. Everything goes perfectly. I don't want that. That's a headspace you don't want to be in.
Yep, spot on. I like that.
The next Moose on the Loose, every event now, and every runner has this obsession with trying to organise paces for themselves, like having someone run just in front of like you for the entire way, who takes care of all your thought process for you. And I think this is another trap that we fall into, thinking that paces are like this saving grace for us, or this shortcut to running well, like a free kick in the footy. Paces do not do that. This is not like cycling where you can draft off them and get a significant advantage. The marathon is too long to be able to rely on someone else's effort for you to run perfectly. And we've got this huge focus at the moment on ensuring that everybody has someone around them the entire way in a marathon. When I actually think that running by yourself through some of the harder parts of the marathon is what can really, well, A, teach you a lot about yourself, but B, allow you to find your own rhythm. And finding your own rhythm through some of those bad times allows you to finish faster and finish to the best of your ability, not try to hang on desperately to a pacer who's running a time that's just physically outside of your capability. So I'm starting to move to anti-pacers. What about you boys?
Not good for croaks. What about pacers making it all about themselves?
Oh,
The
we've
Pacer
done
show.
that before.
Yeah,
We've done that before.
Do that around Gold Coast time every year, don't we?
Yeah,
come on. That's why Brady doesn't want to get into who's coming to Sydney Marathon, because it's all about him up there. He wants to keep his pacing gig.
Man, Sydney got a good relationship up there.
The one thing I always found with pacers, Moose, and I know if I was getting paced by somebody who was like significantly faster than me and doing it really easy, that almost puts me off and pisses me off more than anything. Because I'm like, well, and they're like, oh, come on, keep up. I'm like, well, it's friggin' easy for you. It's not for me. Like, I'm friggin' on my limit here. So I don't think necessarily having a pacemaker there is great mentally when you're like, oh, this guy's doing it so easy. Here I am trying to hang on.
It's a fine line, like the people's personalities you've got in those pace and packs too, about how much you talk. Like, you know, like Croaks, you're big on introducing yourself. How are you? My name's Brad Croak. I've been doing this the last 10 years and stuff. Well, I had a lead bike guy on the weekend, and he, like, early in the race was like, what's your name? And then he'd come back, how you going? How you finding it? We're going to go this way up here. And I'm like, just like being really friendly. We'd go through the aid stations and stuff, and he'd ride ahead and tell them all what my name is. So then they'd all cheer my name, which is a bit embarrassing. I'm like, we don't need to be doing that kind of stuff. But he'd be up for a chat at like, yeah, how you feeling? Yeah, this is good. Last year I did this job at Andy Buchanan, yada yada. Where do you live? And I'm just like, I don't want to have a chat. I just want to concentrate on what I'm doing here. Whereas some people would love that encouragement, chat, and hype up kind of thing, if they were. Because you mean like do you mean like the mass participation paces, Moose? People with the balloons and stuff?
I mean,
or like
both.
bring your own paces?
So, I mean the bring your own pacer. I mean I'm doing this race. Can you come and pace me?
Didn't you jump on Gold Coast and do this for Carla Chulek?
I needed a long run. Anyway, let's not go down that path.
Yeah, actually, I think Ryan is interested in you pacing this year, so you don't actually run on the course illegally.
That got back to him. He wasn't happy.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I'll put my hand up there. That was a mistake of mine. Shouldn't have done that.
So she didn't need you that day?
No, she didn't need me. She was out there doing her thing. I was just pissing her off next to her. I was just a bit of just coaching glory. You know,
well, when you rode next to me on the bike for the last like 15 or 12K at Ballarat, I enjoyed that.
That's not pace. Don't stitch yourself up, mate.
Well, it wasn't pacing you next to me. It definitely wasn't a tyre there to jump on. But like when you were like, relax your jaw, make this like your bitch, keep your arms low, things like that. I was like, that was a nice amount of encouragement.
Yeah, that's encouragement, but I don't think that's pacing. Like,
well, one of my questions was like going to look at us three and it's like, look back to when you ran your marathon PB. Like, did you have a pacer with you? Me, no. Moose, no. Sounds like Brady, yes.
No, I was solo, but with a person on a bike next to me giving me encouragement.
You had a pacer for the first half. What about that Ben Kelly?
Yeah, Ben Kelly, he was having a bad day, so we called him at like 14K, and he asked me what pace we're running. He was going to pace us. Then I said, I'll give you some money if you get me to 25K. But he got to like 22K.
Okay, so not a lot of pacing.
Yeah, and then it was Nathan and I after that. We kind of said we'll do 2 or 3K each. So yeah, but 30K I was solo.
I also think in most marathons, like running, not necessarily needing a pacer, like people will come back. If you pace yourself right from the start, you've got then like not designated paces, but you've got packs that you catch up to, or someone falls off and you catch them. And like, that's as good as a pacemaker in terms of motivating you. Like maybe, you're exposed to the wind a little bit. But I know when I ran my PB, I didn't have a pack at all, but I was just gradually like picking people off, and that was enough to keep me rolling. Yeah,
there was a carrot. There is some scientific evidence, obviously, there, Moose, that paces make it easier for you.
Is there scientific evidence?
Well, what about all that stuff for like Monza breaking 2 and then Ineos? Why
that's
they send
totally
those blokes
different,
out there?
Though. Mate, that's an actual flying V formation of cutting the draft down. Like it's very like
that's
you're
what I
not
mean.
going
Isn't it blocking the wind and like blocking even the speed that you're running through the air? Doesn't that create resistance? So if people can block that for you,
no one really does that though as a pacer. Most pacers are just next to someone. Like they're not actually there like running. I think for running, you've got to be very close behind someone to get that sort of effect.
okay.
That's the one benefit I do admit, like if you're behind somebody going into like a pretty strong headwind, like that is going to help you. But at the end of the day, if you've got those sort of conditions, you're probably not going to run your best time regardless.
Hang on, Chris. You're not making yourself redundant here, are you? Like you offer value to those lead women up at the Gold Coast?
Probably not. They've probably got enough guys around them anyway.
Nah, but isn't it like because you're taking the pace, they don't have to think?
Yeah, but
So
I still think most of those girls are
going through in 72 flat.
But I still think they're more interested in just racing because there's been years when those girls have actually dropped off a lot earlier than you'd expect because they're like, stuff this. I'm not interested in going with a pacemaker. I'm here to win the race.
Yeah, okay. Good chat, Moose. Good chat. I enjoyed that. Listener question, Croaks. Let's bring this episode home.
This episode's listener question is proudly brought to you by Precision Fuel and Hydration. Take your nutrition to the next level. Check out the link in the show notes for their free online planner to nail your fueling and hydration strategy, or even book a one-on-one consultation. Visit precisionhydration.com. So we'll go with the shorter one. Should bigger people run less mileage than smaller people? So there was a question that came in. I can't remember who sent it, and this is not word for word, but it's along the same lines of, bigger people obviously way more impact on their joints. Should they run less mileage than smaller people? Interesting question.
From a load management point of view, putting more force through your muscles, your bones.
I think so.
This?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of ways of looking
joints,
at it.
I think, yeah.
Joints.
I suppose as well, like generally bigger people are probably going to, like it's a bit of a generalization, but bigger people are probably going to be a little bit slower.
That's not general. I think that's pretty real.
Okay. Yeah. Like there's some big guys that can run fairly quick out there still, but like on the whole, bigger people are generally going to run slower. So if they're trying to run the same mileage as somebody that's running a bit quicker, they're going to be out there for way more hours a week than the faster people. So that's obviously going to place a lot more load on their body. So that's one way of looking at it. Yeah,
it's more load, but then you also think perhaps they have the muscle strength and muscle volume, tissue volume to handle all that extra load.
Yeah.
So their bones will be maybe bigger, stronger, denser perhaps. They've certainly got more muscle to handle like more of that load. Perhaps they're used to carrying around more load, so they're actually stronger because of carrying that. Like if you imagine like they're running, they've built up to this point, say over 8 weeks, they've built up to a point where they're running 5K straight. Well, all that load, they've absorbed that. They've conditioned for that higher load than someone who's a lot lighter.
Yep.
So they're sort of relatively strong.
Yeah, I think mileage is probably the wrong word to use there because I think it still comes down to how many hours a week you're running. It's like if you're a bigger person who generally runs slower and you're trying to run the same mileage as maybe somebody who's a bit smaller and running generally faster, then you're going to be out there a lot longer for in terms of hours of training per week, which is probably going to put more load through your body.
Yeah, I don't think the answer is not a yes or no, but I think that you'll find bigger people generally will run less because what's bigger too? Like where are we putting bigger?
So I think they can probably run.
Question.
So I think they can probably run the same amount of hours as a smaller person, but regardless, take mileage out of it. It's like if let's say somebody who weighs 60 kilos runs 8 hours per week. I don't think there's no reason why a big person can't run 8 hours per week. It's just that, especially if they've built up their body to be able to handle 8 hours, but their mileage may not be as big.
Yeah.
Well, if you're 60 kilo, you could be too skinny.
Yeah, and a joint's a joint too. Pretty sure, like big people's joints aren't that different to small people's joints. Like you've got maybe muscle volume and you've got bone density and bone strength, but then the joint, like that's probably where things go wrong. You've like look at the big centers in the NBA. How many of those guys play for a long time and they just can't run? And I'm not like this is a pretty extreme example, but that we're talking big, and those crew can't get down the court. They're injured every bloody second week. That's why they don't get signed, because they just don't get value out of them because they're always hurt because their bodies are too big to exercise properly.
Oh, yeah.
That's an extreme.
Good example.
Talking like Yao Mings and who's that big fucking dude? The guys that just like lumber down the court and you can just tell every step hurts them.
Yeah, I was watching Collingwood put out this documentary and they had footage of them doing the beep test kind of thing. And you look at some of the big boys trying to get up and down on those lines, trying to beat the beeps. It looks completely different than the wingers and the midfielders.
So a big person could be a 6'8", like behemoth, or it could be like I considered myself pretty big for a marathoner back in the day, being 70 kilos and 6 foot, and I'm probably the biggest on most of the start lines that I was on, and I could still run a fair amount of mileage, but got fucking arthritis in all my joints now, so it might not be the best example.
I don't think we come up with an answer, but we had a chat about it. So thanks for whoever sent that listener question in, and thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration. I rely on their resealable Croaks. This is why you should be reading this. 90-gram gel for my long runs, and plenty of elite athletes trust them too, including Olympians and ultra runners. You can use the code INSIDERUN at 2025 for 15% off your first order at precisionhydration.com. What's coming up, boys? We've got Nagoya Marathon. Leanne Pompiani making her debut. She's got a PB of 69.01 from Melbourne, which I think's worth 68.15. Moose doesn't. He thinks Melbourne course is pretty quick, but we agreed to disagree on that one privately during the week. We did some numbers here, Croaks, because we did interview her. You did the big deep dive in her training. 10-week training average of 187K. That's huge. I'm going to put this out.
Yeah, and then so that was...
I don't think anyone's put that mileage in before for their debut marathon.
Yeah, you might be right. So that was like 187 for the 10 weeks, and then last week was 140, which takes her to like 1 week before the race.
I don't think... Have you guys ever run 187 10-week average leading into a marathon?
No.
Probably come close.
Have you? Yeah, okay.
I reckon it's probably 160.
Because once you've got a down week, if you've got a race in there, it's very easy to kind of like with that average drop. So get excited about this, listeners. This could be really, really big on Sunday. Izzy Bat-Doyle, who was the third fastest of all time, just moved to fourth when Jess got her on the weekend. We had a look at her Strava. She's averaged 169 over the last 10 weeks. She did have a little taper and recovery period in there, though, after she set the Australian half marathon record. But then, she did 155K the week leading into this week, the taper week. Had a big session on the Thursday. Oh, Friday. Did you see this?
Right. Yeah, it might have been Friday.
I reckon it was 35K total kind of thing. So, and I did she only had 14 weeks between Valencia and this. So December into a start of March marathon. Comes around pretty quick there. It's going to be a big day for Australian distance running, hopefully. Any predictions, boys? You got any slab bets you want to offer up?
Where are your lines for the two?
Izzy's she spoke Australian record was the goal at Valencia. Her trainer looks like it's been pretty. Well, she's coming off a half marathon national record. 67 low, wasn't it? 67, 15, 20, somewhere around there. You look at the training she does, you look at that time over the half marathon. If she was a sub-elite male, that adds up to 2:21 or quicker. Does it not?
Just having a look at Nagoya weather. Looks like 4 to 15 degrees on Sunday.
What did Leanne say the pace groups are?
Oh, I think she said there's
218 and 220. Then 228 or something.
And then there's going to be one between 220. Was it 221 and 225 or something? Or like I think she said something about like if she goes out at the debut record pace of sort of 2:28, there'll be no pace pack at that at all. Whereas I think there's going to be one around that sort of. I'm sure there'll be one for the World Championships qualifying standard of 2:23.30.
What do you think of Moose? 67.17 Izzy ran.
Go through in 70 flat. I reckon that's potential.
Slow it down. 70 flat. You reckon she's going to run 2:20?
No, I said go through in 70 flat. And she's got this mileage behind her. Like, she runs a lot still. I mean, not as much as Leanne, but she still runs a lot that she could perhaps hold on to that. Like, she's got that back-end strength. Because I reckon she will want to go with it. Nagoya, that'll be front pack for Nagoya, I reckon.
Do you know what her time when you put in the calculator, her half, what it spits out?
I'm gonna say 2:20.45.
2:20.04.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Calculator's always a bit biased.
Depends which one you use. Yeah, depends which one you use. Which one you use in Brady?
I only use one, boys. There's only one you use, and that's Tin Man. Our man, Tin Man.
Well, I'll go. I'm going to put it into McMillan.
I'll go Hanson's. We'll see what happens here.
So, what was the half time?
67.17. This is great radio, boys.
It is. Well, wait for it. 107.17. Hey.
Yeah, Hanson's got her here for the marathon. 2:20.17, Croaks. So they're not far off. Hanson's and Tin Man. Croaks' internet's still loading up there.
It's coming. 7:17.
Tonight or?
Yeah. No, this is a good one. This one takes time. We have drum roll.
I'm sitting on the edge of my
loading.
seat.
Not going to be that far off.
The marathon time is 2:21.36.
Oh, what's that one? That's
2:21. Well, I actually think it's probably more realistic. Yeah. 2:21.36. McMillan, yep.
Yeah, old Greg McMillan.
She's
breaking the Australian record, isn't she, off the calculators?
Line bet. Who wants it? 2:21, under or over?
I think you go Australian record, under or over.
All right.
Is that 2:21.41 or something?
No, it's a bit quicker than that.
21, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Might have been 30 something.
Yeah, Australian record under over. I don't know, like especially with I like the fact that you got Leanne in there as well. I reckon it just puts Izzy on edge a bit. Just
2:21.34.
34.
Is the Aussie record.
Mathematically, she's on, but that's not how the marathon works. I'm not going to take it, Moose. We'll put it up as a poll.
All right. Don't take it.
What about Leanne on debut?
What's the line?
You would think 2:25 would be so achievable for her, but it's her debut, and you can't underestimate it, can you?
Like the nutrition side of things, there's just so many factors.
It's a different day and age, though. Like, she has that much information now about nutrition, training. Like, you even go back, like, 8 or 9 years ago. People weren't having these same conversations about nutrition. She's got super shoes. Like, yeah, I think you can run a fast one in your first one. And I think she will. Like, that training she spat out on that episode, Croaks, is phenomenal.
But it's like...
And she's a 69 flat girl.
Like, you look at our current crop of top marathoners, how many of them made their debut when the super shoes were around? So Izzy did.
Izzy. And Jen, she ran over. She didn't even hit the qualifier in her debut, did she? But it was Gold Coast.
So you got to think, it's like, we're giving Leanne an easy 2:25. And look, yeah, she's capable of it. But that is still 3 minutes faster than any of these girls have run on their first ever marathon. Like, 3 minutes is a lot.
She's a beast racer.
We all said the same about Izzy and Jen going into their debuts.
Yeah, we're looking at Leanne as the athlete that we know Leanne, not the athlete that's going to debut the marathon. And it's hard not to look at the person as the person.
Yeah. Well, that's it. She'd be on the start line going, well, beat Izzy in Melbourne half, like, look back at your training diary. I've run close to 200K weeks for however long. Like, I'm certainly strong.
She's going in the front pack.
Yeah, she got white line fever. She's not letting Izzy get away from her off the gun.
Well, not the front pack. I think front pack would be faster than that. Like,
well, have you seen a field list? Do we know?
When Jess is going through in 70.05, Izzy Batdoyle's not going to say, oh, yeah, well, that's too quick for me. She'll also go quick, I reckon.
No, but also that's, so obviously 67, what you run, 67.17,
yeah.
like that's, over 2.5 minutes slower.
Yeah.
So that should feel fairly comfortable. And that's one thing Izzy's had over like Jess, is that Izzy does have that natural, a bit more speed than what Jess has.
Let's do a guessing comp. Do something on social media. Someone can win a pair of shoes. Got a pair of shoes handy, Moose? We had Zach to get a sponsor, actually.
I'll give you some... No, I'm not doing shoes for this one.
Need a free pair of shoes. Zach will tap a sponsor between now and
just
the
poll.
weekend.
Just a poll.
I like seeing people's guesses. I don't like just yes or no.
I reckon you'll be on the Macmillan calculator after this, though, Brady.
Yeah, shit. What did I run yesterday? Put in 69.45 Croaks. What am I running? A Ballarat.
All right.
Nah, put in 67.30. Yeah, I'm the same as Izzy. I'm running slower than Izzy. Anyway, what else coming up? Box Hill Burn this week. Then Moose, your birthday Friday. So if you see Moose upload a run on Strava, get around him because he loves
that.
I got whisperers in every part of Australia, mate. And someone just landed in my DMs before, just saying, just let you know it's Moose's birthday Friday if you want to mention it on the show tonight.
He's a big birthday man, we know.
Big birthday man. So if you see him upload a run, get it in the comments, get on his social media, flick through how much of a positive impact he puts on into your life every week on the show, and just let the man know. We're done, boys. What are you doing, Croaks, between now and next week?
Not a great deal. Got a public holiday, a long weekend coming up this weekend.
Oh, Labor Day.
You boys? Canberra Day, it's called here.
Canberra, yeah, we got Monday off, don't we?
Monday next week, yeah, Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
Bruce, what are you doing?
I've got to Melbourne tomorrow. I'm going to go see some Nike shoes.
Oh, yeah, Vaporfly 4?
It's in store right now, actually.
Is it?
Releases on the 5th.
5th of March? Like 2 days?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep. I got a pair.
Ah, okay. What can you say?
I don't actually... I got a pair for me, but they landed in the Geelong store, and I actually haven't been in the Geelong store since they got there. So I can't tell you too much, to be honest.
This isn't the shoe that you're like, people will be lining up, we can't do online. Remember a couple of weeks ago? You were like, there's a shoe coming this year, small drop, in-store only. It's going to do big things. And we were trying to get out of you what shoe it was.
That was a Nike shoe?
You didn't say Nike. You wouldn't tell us the brand.
No. That's not that one. Sorry, okay. This is the Vaporfly 4. I don't think it's a massive progression from the 3, but I'm going to reserve any comment until I actually see it in person and put it on my foot and have a little run in it. So,
Moose, do you think we've almost reached the pinnacle of like we can't really make many more like big improvements on super shoes?
I think Nike using the pod technology, there's room to move there. You know, the way they've got that Alpha Fly with the pod and the bounce, like there's something in that I reckon they've only put it in a couple of shoes, like their performance shoes. And so I think there's just so much more innovation left in that space. I just think the next thing will be the movement away from foam as the main cushioning system in shoes. You know, when brands started to use gel and they started to use like the Mizuno Wave Plate and all of that old school stuff back in the day, I actually feel like we're going to go back there again. But
Asics gel? Remember the little pouches of gel in the...
Yeah. Anytime that you don't use that, like, so we started as foam, then you started to like Nike had air, Asics went with gel, Brooks had their DNA, it was like a jelly stuff as well, and Mizuno had a wave plate. We're going to get back to that stuff again, I reckon. Things that can cushion and return more energy that is not just foam. And there'll be a spring component to it.
What about, I'll tell you how Nike print money, Moose. Tell this to your mates in the industry. You know what I'm going to say? Just re-release the the Alpha Fly 1.
Oh, yeah.
Just make a shitload of those and just put them in every running specialty shoe store and you're selling out.
Do you know what I would love to see? I would love to see the original 4% come back. And because we've been in so many other super shoes now, bring back the original one and let's see how that feels compared to.
I'm talking about how you print money here. Coach,
I reckon they were still pretty good shoes.
First next percent. Give me that slime green one any day.
Yeah, they were good too.
Re-release those too. If you want to print even more money, print those.
The pink one.
Oh, yeah, I had the Ekiden colorway. That was pretty good too. Bit of like orange and blue. Anyway, it's good. I'm racing again, boys. Saturday night. Bendigo gift 2 mile. $16,000 in prize money. Wish me luck.
Is that right?
Handicap race.
What's your handicap? You on the red?
I don't think I'll be in the red. It's a pretty loaded field. But I'll be in 7:30 p.m. Bendigo on the grass track.
Interesting marathon block for you so far.
Yeah, it certainly is. That was
why
one
are you
of
doing
my.
This?
When or why?
Yeah, why?
Just one last dance in the handicap race, Moose. This is what I grew up doing on the grass track.
Sorry, Brady. This is the discussion we were having the other week about why is Jack Rayner doing these track races when he's training for a marathon? Here's Brady doing all this stuff.
Yeah, this isn't my job. We're just trying to help out an event, get back off the ground, Croaks. Nah, in serious. No, this is on the grass track I started running at when I was like 15, 16. And I'm like, they're putting this race back on, and I'm like, they asked me to do it. And I'm like, this will be fun. Just one last race on your home track. Go down memory lane a bit. 3K.
You just write back to every race that gets in your DMs and say, I'll do it.
Might do, yeah. So free entry as well. No, you don't need to pay to get in. So if you're local, get up there.
I love how he's making it out as like my last chance to have a run on my local track. Like he's going to be armchaired out, up on the shoulders. Yeah. Going out, boys. Thank you. It's been a great career.
Bloke hasn't lived in Bendigo in 24 years either.
Yeah.
There's a new king in town, mate. There's a new king down there.
Andy's the king down there, boys. I'm just getting down to go on the grass one last time. One last handicap race. Throw some elbows. Get in there. It's going to be good. I'll report back next week with my new coach as well. That was one of the issues that I'm like, I want to coach, but I've got to do this handicap race. I've also got to do this half marathon.
Lots of red flags there for that coach.
Yeah, and I've got to talk to 35,000 people every week about what I'm doing. That's also a bit of a red flag. But anyway, we're done, boys. See us next week.
See ya.
Thanks to the 2025 Buffalo Stampede Festival by Single Track Events for sponsoring this week's episode. Don't forget to use the promo code INSIDERUNNING10 for a 10% discount off a race entry and your chance to win one of 3 pairs of ASICS shoes. Sign up now at www.buffalostampede.au.